Book discussion, The Razor's Edge by Somerset Maugham. This is a book about life. This is a book about characters and the way they go through life. And Somerset Maugham is my favorite British author. He is a rare combination of style, culture, and narrative. So his stories are interesting, fun, almost, he has a bit of a Jean Le Carré style, intrigue, tension, narrative, but he's very, very deep. He's very cultured. He's in a deep tradition of British authorship. Oscar Wilde, people like that capture the turn of the 19th century, 20th century society incredibly well. And what I really like about Maugham, and he's my personal favorite because he was a very well traveled fellow. So The Narrow Corner is a book about Southeast Asia. This book is about Europe and the United States. It's really he's opening the door to a new area, to the 20th century, which will be dominated by the United States. And I think Somerset's sensibility shows that he saw this coming. He saw all of this coming. And this was before World War II. The book was published during World War II. So it wasn't that obvious back then that all of these things will come true that he actually writes about, that the United States is the country of opportunity, the country of the future, and that they will, with their incredible sort of dichotomy of tenderness and wildness and strength and curiosity and kindness and wealth and waste and all of these things that accumulate in this country up till today, that they will overwhelm the world. Today, of course, we're in a different world. We are at a point where maybe the United States is in decline, and where all these accolades that a sort of early 20th century writer has about the United States, that all these accolades are not, they're not important anymore, or they should be maybe modified a little bit. So that's definitely one of the interesting things. But I think the most interesting thing to me in the book is the character of Larry, because I see myself in Larry. I think he's a sort of early version of Salinger's Catcher in the Rye. He's a young man with everything given to him, every privilege, every talent, almost anything you could ask for, he has it. He doesn't have parents, though. That's unfortunate. They die. He's raised as an orphan by a caretaker. But other than that, he really has everything. And he goes through life. He chooses a very unusual, very special way of living. And I think he's looking for happiness and he's looking for freedom. And I see myself very much in Larry, a very similar, unconventional lifestyle. I don't agree with most of the actual implementation. I'm not interested in Eastern philosophy and gurus and Indian ashrams and all of that. That's not my thing, but that doesn't matter. It's not really important what he actually does to find happiness. It's much more important that he's looking for it, versus the other characters such as Elliot Templeton, who's a socialite, or his niece Isabel, who is the same version, maybe a little bit more pragmatic and less cultured. And then there is Gary, who's the sort of the buddy, the typical American businessman, and so on and so forth. There's lots of characters in the book, and they all have a certain, they all have their intrigues, their specialties, their maybe also twists, and they all make a good story. I think that is the strength of Somerset Maugham. He's a very good story writer, and this book is really about, as he says in the end, it's about success. And who doesn't like a success story? This is not even a podcast. It's May 12, 2025. This is Krim Delco. For the year, we are down 22%. The market is down 0.5%. We're underperforming by 21.5%. Somerset Maugham, The Razor's Edge. Before I go into the novel, just a few words about the market. We had a good recovery. We're still down 22%, which is quite substantial, of course, but it's been much worse not too long ago. And the reason we're recovering is partly because of the tariff situation, which is improving, but also because there is some, let's say, the waves are the storm is slowing down a bit around Tesla. So that's to say most mildly. So we see a little bit of calmness. The company's coming back to fundamentals. We're launching robotaxi soon. We ramped the Y. So things are happening that are important for the company to start delivering on its mission, to start delivering numbers, to start increasing its value. So these are the things that happen in the market. I don't want to discuss too much about the tariffs because I think there's better venues for that. The purpose of this podcast series is to give people a sense for what it feels like to run a hedge fund. So of course we do care about macro situations like the tariff situation with Donald Trump. And we have a few episodes lined up actually to talk about the academic side of things, the trade side of things, and how we feel about this. In general, we feel very good about the tariffs. We think it's important to change the way global trade has been conducted. We think it's incredibly important for the United States to stop wasting money. That's the most important thing. And our conclusion in the conversation about how the United States should position itself in global trade is that we need to fix our home. We need to fix ourselves at home. We need to reduce corruption. We need to go after people who are using our government, our federal funds, or our system for their own benefit or for their crony benefit. And whether that is the Democrats bringing in illegal immigrants, whether that is the Republicans, vote mongering in order to spend money on defense, whether that is billionaires financing, crazy district attorneys who are destroying the inner cities of America, all of these things need to be fixed. I think this country has to come back to excellence, to heroism, to strength. And I think in that context, this novel is actually a beautiful novel, because this novel, written by a British author, but through the lens of an American family, is a beautiful novel because it shows the strength of America, this power of pragmatism, of tenderness and kindness, and also wild, aggressive, business-driven, pragmatic, take no prisoner type attitude. So there's this fundamental tension, this contradiction in the way America positions itself in the world. And I think this is a beautiful, sensible way to describe America, and it still counts. And I think the one thing that we went too far is, again, we went too far on the waste front, and we need to fix that. But let's talk about the novel itself. So, like I said, I mean, some of this is actually part of the novel. I mean, this is definitely, I think, Maugham has this romantic relationship with America. He's a traveler. He likes to describe foreign cultures. He wrote a lot about Southeast Asia, and then this novel is in that same realm. He's writing about America in the ascent to the world power of the 20th century, and he really captures that well. But like I said in the prelude, the most important thing in the novel, in my opinion, is Larry's character. So this is a boy that is looking for happiness, and it's more than just one person's quest for happiness. I think you can subscribe Larry to a person that is trying, or you can see the meaning of life through the character of Larry. And what I mean with that is not necessarily that you should do what Larry is doing to find meaning in life. That's not what I mean at all. But I think the meaning of life is to actually look for something that gives you meaning, because otherwise you have no success. Otherwise your life is waste. But whether your meaning, like in Elliot Templeton's character, is to be a socialite accepted by aristocrats in Europe, if that is what you think is meaning, then go for it, ask for it, and be good at it. If your meaning is to have freedom, and I think Larry's character is very controversial. On the one hand, he's obviously a very freedom-loving person. He doesn't abide to any conventional rules of society. But then he also has money, and then he gives up that money. But like Mom says in the book, well, if you give up your money and you go work, you're just a beggar. How is that different? Larry says, no, my work, my labor is actually my freedom. So that there's some almost Marxist tendencies there. Don't forget, this novel was written in the early 20th century, so I could, excuse even a British aristocrat who lives in the French Riviera to have some let's say at least romantic ideas about Marxism. So I wouldn't condemn him for that, but nevertheless. Again, what I was trying to say is you don't need to agree with Larry about what the meaning of life actually means in practical terms, but looking for it and pursuing it relentlessly until your last breath, I think that is important. To me, that is the most important thing, and that's what I get from Mom's books. Whether it's The Narrow Corner of Human Bondage or this book, those are the 3 books I've read so far. They all have that same adventurous, optimistic view of life. I think the other thing, again, is very important in this novel, from my perspective. It's the depiction of America. I'm an immigrant myself. I came here with hope and optimism, and I'm really happy to report that I think it's coming back. American optimism, which is closely tied to its history and its cherishing heroes and heroic acts, whether that is on the battlefield or whether that is in business or the arts. We need heroes here. This is a country of heroes, of achievement. This is a country of personalized achievement. Achievements are tied to people. Charles Lindbergh, Henry Ford, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. This is not a country of impersonal things, of art, of gadgets, of mountains, of nature, or Switzerland is famous for its Alps, or Italy for its art, or Norway for the fjords. Like here, we look for people. We want individuals, whether man or woman, doesn't matter. Mostly man, but the point is, we need heroes. We need people that achieve things, because this is a country of opportunity, and opportunity manifests itself through people. Now, what Maugham offers in this novel, and that's the greatness of this novel, is he offers different paths. It doesn't have to be business success. It can be your success. And there's even there's a character that basically kills herself, and he considers that a success because, well, she was living her life towards that end. So, again, I think fundamentally, the thing that matters the most is the canonical question of the meaning of life. What does it actually mean to live? And how would you consider success? If I had to measure you at the end of your life, when Elliot Templeton is about to die, he's being measured by himself and by the author in terms of whether he succeeded in life. And the answer is yes, he did succeed, because he got what he wanted. He got what he wanted from life. He got prestige. He got a funeral in a place that he wanted, and so on and so forth. The point is, I guess you have to pursue your path. There's no right path. There's no such thing as, like, you have to do this so you can consider yourself a success. That's not the point. The point is you have to find your way. And I think this is the most beautiful thing that Maugham gave me in this book, which is find your way. Now I want to tie this a little bit to the purpose of this podcast, which is give people a sense what it feels like to run a hedge fund. Like I always say that, why do we have book discussions in this podcast? Well, first and foremost, we keep record. We consider reading books part of the business. It's not just a pastime. It is actually part of the business of a hedge fund manager. So we consider that number one. But most importantly, also sometimes we actually learn things that are much more important than just retelling a story. And in this case, I want to say I can't emphasize enough how important it is for a hedge fund manager to find his or her own way. There is no general way to make money in the business. As much as people like to believe that, as much as people like to almost fanatically believe in this myth of that there is something out there, like some sort of trick, some sort of formula. It's not like that. You find your way. It's like finding happiness in life or making money in the hedge fund business, generating wealth is the same thing. It is find your own way and then pursue it relentlessly and don't compromise, but keep learning, because you will never end up there's no such thing as I figured it out. There is always continuation. And Elliot Temple is a good example because he sort of misses the times. He gets outflanked by the times. His art is old because Picasso is the new thing and Manet is the Impressionists are old, and so there's you miss the times, but then there's the evergreen, which is of course whether Picasso is the next big thing or not. If you have an Impressionist hanging at home, that's a pretty good deal also. So if you stay true to your life, and I think Elliot's a good example, he stays true to himself. As despicable as he is with his snobbish, vain attitude, he is original. And every person in this book is very original, maybe with the exception of Isabel. She's a bit too average, in my opinion. But everybody else is very, very special. Like, that's who they are. That's their handwriting. And that's, I think, what makes a person, and that's what makes a life. And that's what in the end means success, is to have that handwriting, to have that footprint that is yours, your unique footprint.